This is the Namibian Constitution, narrated by Applewhite. Chapter 5. The President. Article 27. Head of State and Government. 1. The President shall be the head of state and of the government and the Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Force. 2. The executive power of the Republic of Namibia shall vest in the President and the Cabinet. 3. Except as may be otherwise provided in this Constitution or by law, the President shall in the exercise of his or her functions be obliged to act in consultation with the Cabinet. Article 27A. Composition of the Presidency. The Presidency shall consist of the President and the Vice President, who shall be served by ministers, special advisors, and such other persons as the President may appoint, as well as such staff members from the public service as may be appointed for that purpose in accordance with the laws regulating appointments in the public service. Open bracket. Article 27A is inserted by the Namibian Constitution, Third Amendment Act 8 of 2014, close bracket. Article 28. Election of the President and appointment of the Vice President. Open bracket. The heading of Article 28 is substituted by the Namibian Constitution, Third Amendment Act 8 of 2014. 1. The President shall be elected in accordance with the provisions of this Constitution and subject thereto. 1A. A Vice President shall be appointed by the President from the elected members of the National Assembly in accordance with the provisions of this Constitution. Open bracket. Subarticle 1A is inserted by the Namibian Constitution, Third Amendment Act 8 of 2014, close bracket. 2. Election of the President shall be A. By direct, universal, and equal suffrage, and B. Conducted in accordance with principles and procedures to be determined by Act of Parliament, provided that no person shall be elected as President unless he or she received more than 50% of the valid votes cast, and if no candidate received more than 50% of the votes, a second ballot shall be conducted in which the two candidates who have received the most votes in the previous ballot shall participate, and the candidate who received the most votes in the second ballot shall be duly elected. Open bracket. Subarticle 2B is amended by the Namibian Constitution, Third Amendment Act 8 of 2014. Not all of the changes are indicated by the amendment markings. The inconsistent terms, quote, percent, close quote, and, quote, percent, close quote, are presented as they appear in the Government Gazette, close bracket. 2A. The Vice President shall A. Serve at the pleasure of the President, B. Deputize, assist, and advise the President in the performance of his or her duties as may be required by the President, to whom he or she shall be accountable, C. Upon appointment, resign as a member of the National Assembly in accordance with Article 48, 1c hereof, D. Not at the same time be the Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Minister, a Minister, or any other office bearer in the Government of Namibia. E. Be subject to the conditions of service, remuneration as may be provided by Act of Parliament. F. While acting as President, has the same immunity as provided in Article 31, and after he or she has acted as President, also has the same immunity as the President has after leaving office. And G. In the event of resignation, dismissal, death, or incapacity, be replaced by a person appointed by the President under this Constitution. Open bracket. Subarticle 2A is inserted by the Namibian Constitution, Third Amendment Act 8 of 2014. 2B. Before formally assuming office, the Vice President shall make and subscribe to an oath or solemn affirmation before the Chief Justice the Deputy Chief Justice, or another judge designated by the Chief Justice, in terms set out in Schedule 2 hereof. Open bracket. Sub-Article 2b is inserted by the Namibian Constitution, 3rd Amendment Act 8 of 2014. 2c. If the President-elect is unable to assume office due to his or her death, incapacity, disqualification, or other reason, the Vice President appointed by the President, whose term is due to expire, shall make the oath or affirmation contained in Article 30 of this Constitution before the Chief Justice, the Deputy Chief Justice, or another judge designated by the Chief Justice, and assume the office of President in an acting capacity until the assumption of office by the President elected in the subsequent presidential by-election as contemplated in Article 29 4b. Open bracket. Sub-Article 2c is inserted by the Namibian Constitution, 3rd Amendment Act 8 of 2014. Close bracket. 3. Every citizen of Namibia, by birth or descent, over the age of 35 years, and who is eligible to be elected to office as a member of the National Assembly, shall be eligible for election as President. 4. The procedures to be followed for the nomination of candidates for election as President, and for all matters necessary and incidental to ensure the free, fair, and effective election of a President, shall be determined by Act of Parliament, provided that any registered political party shall be entitled to nominate a candidate, and any person supported by a minimum number of registered voters, to be determined by Act of Parliament, shall also be entitled to be nominated as a candidate. That concludes Part 1 of Chapter 5 of the Namibian Constitution. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy my content, and I'll see you in Part 2.